I found the divorce papers on a Wednesday morning. They weren't hidden. They weren't left in anger. Just placed neatly on the kitchen counter, beside my travel mug and the banana I always forget to eat. At first, I thought it was some kind of mistake, some draft document she might have printed for a friend. But then I saw her name at the bottom, signed, dated, stamped with the kind of finality you only recognize when it's too late to change anything. What struck me most wasn't the document itself. It was how little I felt. No shock, no outrage, not even fear. Just silence. Like the silence that had been growing between us for years had finally taken shape and printed itself on legal paper. The truly strange thing? A part of me felt relief. And that's when I knew. This divorce didn't happen overnight. It had been written, slowly, in the way we stopped laughing, stopped touching, stopped seeing each other. That was the morning I realized I had already been divorced for years. I just hadn't signed anything yet. Back when we first met, I was the kind of guy who believed in happy endings. I was 27, overworked, underpaid, and hopelessly romantic. She was quiet, thoughtful, and had this way of smiling at things like old books and rainy days. We were different, but we matched. Where I rushed, she paused. Where I burned, she cooled. And somehow, it felt like balance. When we got married, we didn't have much. Just a one-bedroom apartment, a hand-me-down couch, and a toaster that only worked on one side. But we had each other, and in that bubble, I believed that was enough. I was going to be the man who showed up. Not just at work, not just at dinner, but in life. I told myself I'd never be like those husbands who drifted off, who forgot birthdays, who tuned out during conversations. But over time, showing up became mechanical. I worked. I came home. I fixed the sink when it leaked. I helped the kids with their science projects. I built bookshelves and paid the bills on time. I was responsible, present, functional. But not once did I stop and ask, am I still her partner or just a roommate? The truth is, I was too focused on doing things for the family that I forgot to simply be with them, with her. And by the time I realized I was fading, she had already disappeared. Tu et voi. Dui de la fan 3 va fan 4 qua chuyen. The day I realized I was a stranger in my own marriage. Teep tu si theo fong kech nain hang. Sao lang, va de noi tom. Hon ton fu hop voi voiceover cham rai va kon get kim suck. It didn't happen all at once. There was no shouting, no betrayal, no moment I could point to and say, asterisk, that's when it began. Asterisk. Instead, it was like watching paint slowly peel off the walls. You don't notice the first crack, or the second. Then one day, the whole room feels cold, unfamiliar, and you wonder when it stopped feeling like home. We started missing each other in the same house. I'd come back from work to find her already in bed, lights off. Or she'd eat dinner early, leave mine in the oven covered in foil, like an afterthought. We still said the polite things. Asterisk, how was your day? Asterisk. Asterisk, don't forget the parent-teacher conference. Asterisk. Asterisk, did you pay the gas bill? Asterisk. But the things that mattered, the dreams, the disappointments, the little victories and worries, those went unspoken. I told myself we were just busy, that we were tired, that kids and careers and mortgages do this to people. But deep down, I knew. We weren't tired. We were gone. She didn't ask about the book I was reading. I stopped noticing when she got a haircut. We sat on opposite ends of the couch, scrolling through separate worlds. And in that distance, unspoken and ever-growing, something died. Not with drama, but with silence. It was a Tuesday evening. I remember it clearly because the kids were at a sleepover, and the house was unusually quiet. I walked into the living room and found her sitting on the floor, back against the couch, staring out the window. She didn't look up when I entered. She just sat there, knees pulled to her chest, fingers loosely clasped, like she was holding something invisible together. I sat down across from her. For a while, we didn't speak. Then I asked, softly, "Are you okay?" She didn't answer at first. And when she finally did, she said something I'll never forget. "You always ask me that, when it's already too late." There was no anger in her voice. Just exhaustion. The kind of weariness that doesn't come from one bad night, but from years of feeling alone next to someone who thinks they're right there with you. And I realized this wasn't the first time she tried to tell me. She'd told me 100 different ways. In her silences, in her sighs, in the way she smiled less and less, and only out of politeness when she did. But I wasn't listening. I thought being a good husband meant providing, fixing things, staying faithful. I forgot that being present doesn't mean just being in the room. It means being in her life. That night, nothing else needed to be said. Her pain was no longer loud. It was still, final, like a door that had closed long before I ever realized it was open. Rat San Long. Dui De La Fan 5 Va Fan 6. Fan Kit Kwa Ka Chuyen. The day I realized I was a stranger in my own marriage. Nipka Van Jachat Tram Lang. New Kawang Lang Noi Tom Vamang Tin Chiem Niyam Sao Sak. Ly Tuong Cho voice over video cam suck. The next morning, I found the papers. Neatly placed. No note. No accusation. No plea. She didn't ask for anything. No property. No custody fight. No drawn-out battle. Just her signature. And a blank space waiting for mine. I stood there for a long time, staring at it. And then I sat down in the same spot she had occupied the night before, right there on the floor. I stared out the same window. And for the first time in a very, very long time, I cried. Not because she was leaving me. Not even because I had lost her. But because I realized I had left first. Without even packing a bag. Without even saying goodbye. I left the day I stopped asking her how she felt. The day I started prioritizing routine over romance. The day I mistook stability for love. We had built a life full of checklists, mortgage paid, school enrollment, dentist appointments. But somewhere between those to-do lists, I forgot to ask her what still made her laugh. Or what she dreamed about now. Or if she was happy. And the thing is, I think she waited. I think she held on, hoping I'd notice. That I'd come back, not just physically, but emotionally. But I never did. Until it was too late. I signed the papers 3 days later. Not out of anger. Not out of pride. But because I respected her decision to leave what I had unknowingly abandoned. And for the first time, I looked in the mirror and asked myself a question I hadn't dared to before. Who were you to her, really? Not in the beginning. Not during the wedding, or the honeymoon, or the first few years. But at the end, when it mattered most. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't unfaithful. I wasn't absent in the traditional sense. But I was distant, distracted, disconnected. And if love dies a slow death, then I was the one holding the pillow. People often think that divorce comes with betrayal, with screaming, with lawyers, with stormy exits. But sometimes, divorce comes quietly, in the form of years spent avoiding each other's eyes, of talking about everything except what hurts, of sleeping next to someone and still feeling alone. And now, when people ask why we divorced, I don't say much. I just tell them. Because I stopped being her home, and she stopped being mine. If you're lucky enough to love someone, don't just show up for dinner. Show up for them. Ask the hard questions. Listen for the silent answers. Don't wait for papers to realize what's already been lost.